Friends, hello, welcome back. Hopefully everyone is having a lovely day. We're talking a little bit of more NHL 24 ratings today. We're doing our top 10 left wingers. Let's go ahead and jump right into it with number 10, Adrian Kempe of the LA Kings. You talk about a guy that didn't turn it on until he's age 25. 25 years old, and this guy's like, all right, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready. Imagine just waiting until he's 25. It's ridiculous. He just pots 35. And he pots 40 the next year. 75 goals in the last 2 seasons. A guy that has been a masterful piece to this LA Kings team and piece to this LA team, or reason for this LA Kings team succeeding. Kemp's got to make this top 10. It might be a stretch. It really might be, because the name's just so under the radar. He's been in the league so long. It's tough to see where EA puts him. I don't know if EA, what his rating is now. It's not even that, not top 15, top 20. But I think he deserves it. We're pulling for him. We're going to be 87 overall. Let's talk about number 9, Jordan Kyrou. Kyrou he's really part of the new cornerstone of the St. Louis Blues, if you will. 73 points, 37 goals again this past season. Just a hair over point per game 2 seasons ago was Kyrou. Kyrou continuously going out there and producing for this team. Kyrou came in as an 87 last season. I think we're going to see him hit the 87 again this season. Number 8 is Clayton Keller. Let's talk about Clayton. Now, Arizona, obviously a smaller market, not as big of a fan base, and that's all right. There's markets like the Blue Jackets kind of like that. Not as vocal and are not as successful as a team, so you don't really hear the Clayton Keller hype as much. You hear the whispers. I've seen the rumblings. I hear Arizona pulling for this guy. But he's not really garnered the respect around the league. I don't think a couple years ago, I should say, be careful. I don't think he really garnered the respect by EA, though, judgment by his overall. But I mean, this is year 2. This guy put up 37 goals, 86 points this season. Second straight year putting up a point per game. And Clayton Keller has to be on people's radars as a guy that is growing and improving. And is becoming one of the best right wingers in the league right now. We're going to give him an 88 overall. Number 7 is Mark Stone. Stone put up 38 points last season in 42 games played. Mark Stone, still to this day, regarded as one of, if not the best defensive winger in the game. That two-way ability, accompanied with his near point per game production, is the reason we see him get a solid overall year in and year out. I am concerned. We've talked about this year in and year out. EA typically does not punish somebody for having an injury season. If they have a down season, you're injured, it's like whatever. It's not a big deal. The difference is Mark Stone's kind of been injured for a lot. 5 seasons ago was the last time he played 65 plus games in a season. And you wonder if EA starts to put that into effect. We'll see. Nonetheless, we're giving Mark Stone the 89 overall. Number 6 is William Nylander. Nylander ranks 5th amongst all right wingers over the past 3 seasons as far as total points are concerned. 40 goals last season. Him and Matthews figuring things out. They seem to be playing the best hockey they've been playing thus far in their careers together. That connection's lethal. Nylander's going to hit the 89. Number 5 is Patrick Kane. I don't even want to say the numbers, a very ugly season out of Patrick Kane. The guy that came into NHL 23 is the number 1 ranked right winger. Just fell off the face of the earth last season. And unfortunately, you're going to see that rating go down. Fortunately for him, EA typically does not punish somebody, especially the number 1 guy ranked. They're not going to take him off the top 10. They did have a top 10 season, not even close. Or then take him off, and no, they're going to drop him a couple overall points, because overall he's still been one of the best right wingers in the game. Probably a good chance of being a future Hall of Famer. And the problem with Patrick Kane is, we have to remember, when he has a down season, he's a smaller guy. He's not a big physical guy, so his physicality stats they're not the best. So when he has a down season, it's still going to hurt his overall a lot. If it was an Ovechkin down season, I feel like you might see 1 overall point drop, maybe 2, because it's just hurting the offensive stats a little bit. But the offensive stats are what Kane is so dependent on. I think we see him drop all the way down to a 90 overall. Let's talk about Mitch Marner coming in at number 4. The Selke finalist. You talk about a guy whose defense improved this past season. 104 takeaways. 99 points was a career high. His goals regressed down to 30 this season. But again, as far as averages are concerned, as far as career is concerned, his goals are still up. He's still producing at a very high level. This Toronto Maple Leafs offense has been lethal. And I think you look at Marner and say, hey, he started as a 90 last season. But because of the way he's played defensively, I think he's going to see himself tick up to a 91 going into NHL 24. Number 3 is Mikko Rantanen. 55 goals, 50 assists this season. What a season by Mikko, one of the best goal-scoring wingers in the league today. He's a big-bodied goal-scoring winger, so the physicality stats always come in big here. We talked about Patrick Kane. Mikko is going to be a beneficiary of those physicality stats for NHL 24. And I tell you what, this guy plays 22 minutes a freaking night. 22 for a winger, 22 for a forward these days, Rick. He is a workhorse. I like to say he should have like a 95 plus endurance, not 90. I seen that in old rating. Bump that endurance up. Nonetheless, I do wonder how much EA looks and says, Nathan McKinnon was his line mates. How much do they affect that? Clearly in the past, it hasn't been a big deal. I don't think it'll be a big deal this year as well. We're going to hit Mikko with the 92. Coming in at number 2 is David Pastrnak. 61 Genos last season. 61. What a season by David Pastrnak. His 61 goals, his 113 points were tied for the most amongst right wingers. He's got the most goals amongst any right wingers over the last 3 seasons with 121. No question about it. He drives the ship of that line. Plays with some great players, but he's one of those guys, one of the few guys in the leagues that drives the ship of his line, carries an offensive line, and that's what he does at a very high level. 11.2 seems like a steal for this guy after last season, but he did finally get paid. Mikko, or David Pastrnak with the 93. The guy that tied him in points this season, Nikita Kucherov, 113, coming in at number 1. Nikita played a full 82 for the first time in a while, but Nikita, again, you look at overall product, 61 goals last season, it was impressive by David Pastrnak, but overall, Kucherov still hasn't been touched. Over the last 3 seasons, his 1.41 points per game leads all right wingers by a mile. When you look at the overall product, Nikita Kucherov, you talk about a guy that drives the ship of a line, has proven that time in and time again. I know he plays with better players now. We've seen him on the third line with players that are coming up. We've seen him play alone before. He is one of the few in this league that can be a winger. You put him with anybody, he's going to put up points. He's going to make that line better. That is what makes you the best of the best, and that is why we're putting Nikita Kucherov at number 1 for our right wing list this season at a 93 overall. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.